Hello friends. Well, it's been an adventure. We've got the base together. We're going to put our final component in it today. We've got our ribbon closure on. Our cotton fabric down the edge on the spine. We've got our mats. We've got our center pocket open. All of our stuff for our base of our journal is together, except for putting our spine in today, our signature in today. So that's what we're going to focus on today, is putting the signature in and getting everything ready for that. Okay, so let me get over here to my papers. I've got some of them pre-folded, but I thought I'd show you what I do. I don't fold them all together at one time. This is going to be the cover to the signature. Has the word memories sort of sketchily written on there. It's a font. I didn't do that. And so we've got 2 pages that I'm going to show you. It's, you know, all kinds of rocket science today. I do the center down. Some people do it differently than that, and that's fine. Everybody has their own way of doing things, and they like what they like. They do what they like. At least I hope they do what they like, because I do what I like. Okay, center out. If I can get this lined up, then I press that center down, it holds it straight. Okay, so we seat these into each other, like so. And then we'll put the rest of our papers together. It's always good to do a little bit of a flip through for yourself to make sure you don't have any pages upside down, because, yeah, that can happen. And right now, they're not all even, so you kind of have to switch over. What I do, now some of the bigger journals, you don't really necessarily have to do this. But what I do on these like this is I use a rotary cutter. Some people use a craft knife, and I just prefer the rotary cutter. With my coordination in my hands, let's just say this is safer for me. So I line it up on the edge of the page. And you just kind of eyeball that. I don't think there's any other way that you can really do this. But, you know, just line it up with a ruler and just gently encourage those edges off of there. This rotary cutter was very inexpensive, and it works really good. I was very surprised at how well it worked, because before I was using a craft knife, and when you become a danger to yourself, you try to find another way to do things. So that's what I did. And this works really good. It doesn't give me any problems. I hope I was, oh yeah, I was in shot. Okay. So then you have your nice, mostly smooth edges. You might have a little bit of something to get off of there, but mostly it's smooth edges. Yeah. I don't save those things like that. I know some people will just save every little bitty smidgen of everything. That's not me. If I don't have a real plan for it, I don't have room for it. So, okay, we make sure we're all settled in out there, and put our sharp things away and move on to our pointy things. Yeah, this is the day for sharp and pointy. Okay, we'll bring this in, and I'm going to do a couple little things to keep things straight. You would think you would open this up flat, and don't do that. To put your signature in, you want to keep it sort of folded. That way your pages are all sitting down in the bottom, nice and snug. So you want to put it in, not there. You want to put it in the behind the pocket section, and keeping it folded, you want to line it up in there. Am I in shot? I'm not. Okay, so you want to line it up in there. Kind of use your mat, I guess, to sort of keep it straight. Then I put a clip to keep that where I want it. Okay, now a lot of people use a lot of different things. People use a book, an old book that, you know, they've more or less brutalized. Some people use one of those really expensive bookbinding thingies. This is something that I use. It's a bunch of foamy packaging, and there's a cutout place here, and so I use that. I just stick this down in here. Make sure your ribbons don't get in there, because you don't want to poke a hole in those. So yeah, onto our sharp and pointy things. I don't measure this. There's really no need. You want to get somewhere in the middle-ish, and then you want to get about an inch down and an inch up. Can you see in there? I'll show you in a minute. Okay. Somewhere in the middle-ish is right there. And you just want to give it a good poke all the way through. And about an inch down is about there. Poke it through. About an inch up is there. And you're hoping, you know, these things can go wrong. And if they go wrong, it's no big problem. You can fix it, okay? But you're hoping they go through, yes, they go through the center of where you've got your cotton fabric on here. And they did. It doesn't always happen that way, but we're lucky this time. I think sewing in the signatures is where things can get the most hinky. A little complicated, but really, whatever goes wrong, you can fix it. Now I'm using wax linen thread and a big old needle that's got a big hole in there. What you do, okay, some people cut their thread off. They measure it 3 times the length of this, and they cut their thread off. I don't do that, because I never know if I'm going to accidentally measure short or whatever. So I leave my thread connected to the rest of the thread. And then I, you know, just tie it at the end. And I don't worry about if I've got enough. I can pull it back through and put it back on the doohickey. Okay, I'm done with that now. So let me move it out of the way. You just pull this. Hopefully I'm in shot. You just pull this through. And you go to one end or the other, okay? Where you've got your holes poked through. I hope you can see this. I don't know. And you just poke through there. It's a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. And sometimes it's easier if you make the holes bigger. But if you make the holes bigger, then you've got bigger holes in your signature. So, full disclosure, you don't want that many holes in your signature. There you go. Okay. And your thread can get a little bit close to itself. You don't want it to get tangled. Okay, after you've gone through the center, you go in here, keep it tight, and then you go all the way down to here and go back. So once you've done that, you go back in your original hole. Sorry, you have to concentrate on this. Talking and concentrating is complicated. So, okay. As I said, threads can be complicated. Collie Bob already. Get in there. Okay. Okay, now once you're through here, you want one string on one side of this middle thread that's gone all the length of the thing, and you want one on the other side. Okay. So, and you do want to pull them tight. And at this point, you're done with the clips because they're just in your way now. They just needed to hold things still till you got all the needle work done. Okay. Now, you want this tight. You want these tight. If they're not tight, then go find out why and pull them again. Sometimes you have to go through and give it some more tugging. Okay, so you've got one string here and one string here. I do double through and pull that down onto there. I hope I was in shot. I need to check. Okay, so once you've got that, you can either make another knot or a little bow, and I try to do a bow because it's just cute. And you know, the people that get this can leave it in a bow or not. And yeah, my bows aren't that great, but eventually I get there. Turn that over. Working with the wax linen thread is a little bit easier in that you can get it to stay in a position that you want it to stay in. And as I said, my hands and my coordination, they're not that great. So I cheat. I get some tweezers and I give it a good tug to get it snug in there. Then another cheat I have is I put just a dot of glue on here. Oh, thank you. I just filled this morning and it's trying to be interesting for me. Okay, so all right, now we've got our signature in. You can cut this off to be the same length as that. And there you are. Our signature is in. Now when it first gets in, it's going to be a little bit stiff. You got to work it a little, you know. Put your papers over and fold them this way and that way and give them a good pressing. And they'll behave themselves. They're good papers, you know. Okay. So now we've got our base done. And thread all over the place. Okay. So we've got our base. And what we're going to do next is mostly the, you know, making it pretty. It's already pretty, but we're going to make things for the inside. We're going to do pockets and flips, and is that in the, there's another bow for you. So before I talk to you about this one, let me put this away before I get in trouble with myself later. It's called self-sabotage. I try not to do that. Okay, so we're going to make this flip pocket for the inside. It's our first inside adventure. So what I'm going to do is show you some things that I've got sort of ready. Over here, just a plain old manila folder, okay? It's not complicated, but it can get complicated, and the reason I'm telling you this is because it happened to me. So you're going to score at every 4 inches. I always cut those tabs and stuff off. If you want to keep them, go right on ahead and keep them. I don't want those in this project, so I cut those off. So what I do is I score, ever mind these score marks here, that doesn't count. Score every 4 inches along the way. Okay? Pretty simple so far. Now when you're working with a folder or an envelope, you're inevitably going to find out that they're not straight. So you may have to work with them a little bit, and that's okay, because that's just normal. Okay, so what you're going to do is fold like so. Now the reason I did this is because the first one I made, I thought I was doing great. And then when I came to folding it and putting it all together to make my flip pocket thing, I had it backwards. So if you don't write front and front flip on there, flap, you could go wrong. So once you get it scored at every 4 inches, stop and say, okay, that's going to be my opening. It's going to open this way, right front on it. And that way, when you go to cutting things up, because you have to cut things up, you won't get off kilter and do it backwards. Okay? So 4 inches and 4 inches. This part, am I in shot? This part, this over here is going to go away. Get cut off completely. Okay? Then you'll have, this is your open up pocket. This is the flap that folds down. So once we get that cut off, this is the back, and see, these won't matter because that's just inside the pocket and on the thing that you're gonna glue it to. Okay, so once we get this cut off, we score it at 6 inches from the bottom of the front. Okay, 6 inches up, and that leaves us about 5-ish, depending on your folder, that's gonna fold down. Okay, all right, so instead of me doing all this on here, hopefully I've made myself pretty clear. This is your finished result. Front flap, remember where I told you to write that? Front and front flap. Okay. Then you've got your inside part, and like I said, this doesn't matter because it's going to be on the back and inside the pocket. Because it'll open this way, that will be covered. And then this is your pocket. Let me get my example again and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Because this one's already together. So front flap opens to be a little booklet thing, and then on the side there's our pocket. So pretty simple. We don't need to get lost in the process of this. It's yeah, it's pretty simple. So front flap, bring it down so you can see what I'm talking about. Then, you know, of course you'll put your own pocket there. Opens up to be the inside. Again, opens up, and you see all your pretties that you put in there. And then your pocket. There you are. So this gets glued along here and along here. I use double stick tape and glue because some people worry about the tape getting caught on whatever you're sticking into a pocket when you put tape. I don't worry about that. But some people do. So I put a little thin bead of glue on the side. It doesn't take up that much room and you're covered. It's going to stay. I try to build everything I build really solid and to where it's going to stay for years. At least that's my plan. Now with this, you're going to want to take your bone folder and just press the heck out of this. File folder isn't that thick, but it's thick enough to where it needs some serious burnishing, pressing, whatever you want to call that. It needs it. So just press it really well. And like I said, you might find some places where it's a little crooked or this way or that way. Just work with it, pull it over, refold it, re-burnish it. It'll be fine. And you'll come out with something really pretty like this. So, yeah. Okay. I'll come up with another one soon. Don't forget to go over and get your freebie from my website for the bird papers. Where is that? Sorry about all the rifling sounds, but it wasn't at the top for sure. Okay. Yeah, your journaling cards and your big long tag to go in behind the pocket flip. I guess we're calling it a pocket flip. So that's on the website for you to have for free. And this is going to go on the inside front here. Yeah, about there. So that's not the inside front. That's the wrong place. About there. I was thinking, what's wrong with this picture? So yeah, it's gonna sort of replicate that picture up there. So that was the plan. We'll say that was the plan anyways. So there you go. That's where that's gonna go. And so we have to make something for over here on this page. And we have to make a really nice big journaling card and such for in here in our big pocket. And we have two other elements to make as well. We've got one for here, and one for here, and one for here. So we have to make, and we can't get too bulky with it because the person that gets the journal, whether it's you or someone else, you have to remember that this is going to eventually have to tie together. I don't put anything in the signature of these little journals because I leave it for people to put pictures or write in it. So I only decorate, well, I only put pockets and flips in on the matted places. And I leave the back more or less plain. It is what it is, and that looks all right. So here we go. We've got our base done, our signature's in, and we've got our first element planned. Yeah, as you notice, it's sticking up a little bit, but that signature just has to have a little bit of time to settle down, and it will. These things have to get used, and then it softens up. Okay, well, that's the video for today. I'll come back with something new and interesting for the next one. Remember your freebie. Okay. Thanks for watching. TTFN.